Okay, so I'm just gonna say it. I weigh 200 pounds. And yes, I did. I totally said it out loud. And I want you to know why. Like, because it's just a number. Like, that's all. It's not a confession. It's not like I'm at an AA meeting and I'm getting up and I'm standing in front of everybody and confessing something. It's not the walk of shame. I love my body. I love what it looks like and all things. But 200 pounds, I am overweight. So, but here's the thing, it's just a reflection of how my body relates with gravity at this moment. That's it. And so I'm done giving that number the power to decide how I feel about myself, right? Or how I eat or how I think about myself. And so if you've ever felt like food has been tangled up with guilt, shame, punishment, this live stream and episode is totally for you. And so we're not going to be talking about what to eat today. I did cover a little bit of that last week. So, but what we're going to be doing is talking about how to rebuild our trust with food, our relationship with food, because food was never meant to be our enemy. In fact, it's meant to be there to nourish our bodies and support them. So if you're tired of starting over, second guessing every bite, feeling like your body's broken, like let's go ahead and have a different conversation today. All right? With someone the other day about this. But isn't it kind of wild how it only takes one headline, one article for the entire culture to flip and turn on its head, right? So suddenly fat is bad. And so then everybody goes low fat, or suddenly meat would be bad. And then we all go vegetarian, right? And then carbs are bad and they're the enemy. And then now we all start avoiding bread and rice like it's poison, and this cycle, it keeps on going, you know. And if you look behind the scenes of the people who are producing those articles, it's often the same industries that are funding the research, are selling the product to solve and fix that problem, right? And so this is not a conspiracy theory, but this is actually the business model of many businesses out there, right? Find a problem, discover and make the solution. And so it's kind of created a generation of women, including all of us, who walk in their kitchens feeling like they're doing everything wrong. And worse, it's made us afraid of food. The very thing that God created and designed to fuel our bodies, we're terrified of. And so we're afraid of eating the wrong thing, that it'll mess up our bodies, that we're not going to live long because this, fat is bad, right? That we're broken, we're undisciplined, whatever, beyond repair, or we're too old, whatever the thought is. But here's the truth, that diet culture never told you. And that is, our bodies aren't failing. Okay. Our Heavenly Father designed you beautifully and wonderfully. And so, but what's happening is they are starving, not for calories, but for nutrients. So, last week I talked about what our bodies are made of and what nutrients we all need. So make sure you go listen. But we've been eating food that's been stripped of the very things that our cells need to function. Water, protein, healthy fat, fiber, minerals, microbiome support, which includes pre, post, and probiotics, right? And so our bodies, they're crying out for more. Not more quantity, but more quality. And so that hunger that you feel and those cravings that you have, they're not weaknesses, it's actually wisdom. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, please go back and listen, because there's a lot of wisdom in that episode and it's very short and simple. But you were meant to fuel your body with what it was made to run on. Okay. And so that's how you're going to strengthen your mitochondria, how you're going to rebuild your energy stores. That's how you're going to get back to living that wild, purposeful life that you were created for and that you dream of. But it's not by shrinking yourself. It's about supporting yourself. So, of course, if it's healthier for you to be smaller, I love that. But I don't want you to think of it in a way of shrinking yourself. So, after years of dieting, rules, plans, starting over, like, it's so easy to feel like your body can't be trusted. Many of us, we often think like, Why isn't anything working? Even if I have followed all the rules, everything my doctor has said, everything that nutritionist said, everything that YouTube influencer said, like you've counted, you've tracked, you've logged, you've limited, you've eliminated, right? And still your body hasn't responded with the way you hoped it would. So the next thought that usually comes through our minds is it just my hormones now? Like, am I broken? Is this how hormones operate? And so you start wondering, is this what just happens in midlife? Like maybe something's off and nothing's going to ever work again. Well, and then we often will finally think like, do I have to rely on doctors or prescriptions from here on out, right? You start believing that your healing is no longer in your hands. And that is discouraging. Like it's straight up disempowering, okay? Because our bodies are made to heal. They're made to repair themselves. So if that's a loop of thoughts that you've been stuck in, I wanted to say something that might totally surprise you. But what if your body hasn't betrayed you at all? And what if it's been doing everything it could to protect you? Right? Your body, it's not being disobedient, it's actually being adaptive. And we're meant to be adaptive. So every signal that it's sending you, whether it's fatigue, bloating, anxiety, cravings, it isn't a betrayal. It's communicating, it's saying something, right? But here's the problem. Diet culture, it's taught you to override those signals. And so it's telling you, ignore your hunger, push through those cravings. And it once that diet culture, it forces you to see your body as a problem to solve and not a partner to listen to. So of course, there's this trust issue. Like that trust with our bodies can be built again, right? It's not through controlling your body harder or working harder, but it's through listening and hearing it again, right? Responding to it, partnering with it. Here's what I want you to take away with you today. You didn't fail. Your body didn't fail. You've been trying to live by all the rules and do it the right way. And those rules were never designed for this season of your life, your biology, your healing. Okay. So your body, it's not a math problem because we like to do our math, right? Macros, counting calories. It's not a math problem. It's living, breathing. Your body is holding on to remembering and it's carrying you through these things that you haven't even processed yet, right? So sometimes that trauma is trapped in our fat cells and we don't want to release it until we're ready to process that trauma. And so you should be thanking your body for every fat cell that you've got, right? And it's not too late to start listening to your body again. And you don't have to have all the answers. Okay. Sometimes just starting with listening, and then you just get to pause long enough to ask better questions so that you can learn what your body needs, right? But you can ask things like, what is it my body is asking you for me right now? And how can I support her? Right? So if you were with me last week, you heard me say fuel first, treat later. And so I want you to know that that's a rhythm that's not just about what's on your plate. Okay. It's also about what's going on in your mind. So I want you to think beyond the plate here. Okay. But the truth is, rebuilding trust with food after diet culture is more than just changing how you eat. Okay. It's about changing how we think when we eat, or before we eat, or after we eat. Okay. It's just the way we think. And so here's a simple, short thing that you can start practicing right now. So when you feel the urge to snack or treat yourself, I want you to pause and ask yourself, like, what am I really needing right now? Like this particular craving I'm having. Do I need something sweet, crunchy, comfort? Do I need energy? Right? So you're not asking from a place of judgment. You're literally asking from a place of curiosity. Like, and then the goal, it's not to shut down that craving, it's to get curious before you respond. Okay. And once you know what you're reaching for, you can still honor it. Because sometimes you actually can meet the craving in a way that fuels your body too. So if you're craving something sweet, Maybe your body is needing glucose for energy, but you can eat something like an apple with almond butter so that it's helping slow that glucose spike, right? If you're reaching out for something crunchy, it could mean that you need stress relief, right? And so maybe you're going to go grab pistachios, get that protein, get that texture, and still have the crunchy you need. And if it's comfort that you're looking for, maybe like a warm drink. My drink of choice is always tea, but something with cinnamon, collagen, or something probiotic rich that can soothe your gut and your soul when you're enjoying that nice treat. And yes, I want to address, like, if you really want a brownie, great. You get to enjoy it without guilt, because what you can do is use it to fuel your body with what it needs first, right? So fuel first, treat later. So then you're going to start with that water, the protein, the fiber. And then once you have fueled your body, you can go and treat it because you've handled the part that's going to steady the glucose spike. But so many recipes are out there now for brownies where you're adding fiber, adding protein powder. People are adding cinnamon to support the blood sugar. And so you don't have to cancel the treat. And often by the time you're full, because you fueled first, you don't even want to eat the whole brownie. You just want that small sense of comfort, right? And so you get to support your body while enjoying it too. That, my friend, it's how we break the cycle of shame. By learning how to listen and partner with our bodies and treat them with respect, like it knows what it's talking about. So you don't have to shut down and force yourself to ignore all the signs and the things that your body is asking for. And so as you're moving throughout this week, I want to remind you, like, you don't have to keep second guessing yourself around food. You don't have to go do more uh, exercises or less calories to enjoy your body. You're allowed to trust your hunger because it's trying to tell you something. You're allowed to enjoy your food. Okay. And so you're allowed to take care of your body without it becoming a full-time job. Often when we're on a diet, it controls our minds, and we can often feel crazy because we're constantly trying to track, prepare ahead, lose sleep because we're making everything ready for the morning, right? It's not about making perfect choices and outrunning the bad ones. It's about being kind and nourishing and respectful to what your body's asking for. And so I just want you to know you can support your body and enjoy it at the same time. And so if you want a little bit of extra help reflecting on what we talked about today, I created that free workbook for this whole entire series. It's available right now in the Facebook group. You can use it to journal, track your patterns, and just reconnect with your body and learn how to listen to it. Of course, if you're looking for more one-on-one support, feel free to send me an email. I'm here to always walk this through with you because you don't need to be alone. But before you go, next week we're going to be talking about something I think you're really going to connect with and love. But we're going to dive into those cravings specifically and just peeling back some of the rules we've been taught to follow without even realizing it. And then I'll be sharing what I've learned about how your body actually tries to communicate with you and how we can start listening without fear or guilt or second guessing every bite that we put into our bodies. So if you've ever felt confused or disconnected from the hunger signals, or just wondered why certain patterns show up for you, like at 2 o'clock, you always this or that, like, we're just going to learn how to decode all of that, all of the food and what your body's trying to tell you. So next week, it's going to be really an honest conversation, but freeing. I want you to feel that food freedom. So I can't wait to share it with you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll see you later.